Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unfiltered Nonprofit Podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Melissa Ray, and she is the co-founder and chief operating officer of the Concord in the City Community Ability Initiative. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm very excited about you and your organization. I feel like you guys had a really good inspiration out there because you're not relying your nonprofit. Tell us a little bit about Concord in the City first before we dive into the topic that I really wanted to cover, which I'm super excited about.
No worries. So Concord in the City is a day program for adults with developmental disabilities. So for those who don't know, adults can stay in school until they're 21 years of age. And then when they age out of high school, there's a few choices for them. They might be able to go to some higher education. There are some new college programs that individuals can independently take and sometimes with a little bit of support. They might stay at home, they might be able to get jobs, or they would like to continue creating skills, and they do that in the safety of a day program like ours. So Concord focuses on independence. We want to focus on what the adult can do to set them up for the rest of their lives. So, when you talk about day programs for adults with developmental disabilities, you'll hear like the keywords like life skills, social skills, job opportunities, job skills. But the life skills, so like we go grocery shopping, but then take it to the next level where we're like, okay, what do you want to get for your lunch? And you're going to make your own lunch on these 2 days. What does your family need for you to buy? So what kind of accountability and responsibility can you bring to the family home? We're very busy. We're in a bunch of different organizations. We're at a yoga studio. We're at a factory. We're at a bakery where we're working on these job skills. Yeah. So we are at Aura House. So I'm just currently in Brampton at my business partner's place, but we're at a yoga studio 2 days a week, and we're checking the participants. The staff are just there for any issues that come up, but the participants check customers in, they do some light cleaning, and then they're just kind of be there as like the guide for before and after the programming. We are at a warehouse with a large organization, a logistics center where we are kitting. So they call it kitting, but there's trunk liners. And so we're making 100 boxes, taping them, putting the trunk liners in, stacking them. Everybody has a responsibility, but it's those small skills such as staying on task, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, being in the workplace. We have lunch in the cafeteria with other employees, so allowing other employees to see people with disabilities as well. And then the one thing that we're passionate about is providing opportunities for society to see the abilities of people with disabilities. So we actually, and don't even get me started on this, but I'm going to, we started a coffee services. So we actually have a coffee truck and a mobile coffee trailer. So in 2022, we applied for funding, and we got a mobile coffee truck that serves the city of Brampton, and it's at the farmers market. And, you're serving 300 to 400 customers every Saturday. Wow. The baristas are all people with disabilities. Again, the staff is there, but just as a support that if the coffee maker breaks, or the water runs out, that we can do that. But the baristas are all making the coffee, taking the orders, saying hi to all the members of the community. So so that's the general overview. On a day-to-day basis, it's much more than that. And then we do have some fun. Like today, we were just at the Brampton Steelheads game. We were gifted a couple of sweets, and we do. So we do something called Community Thursday, which we started in the spring of 2022. And we actually get together with 6 other day programs that support individuals with developmental disabilities as well. And we get together and do social recreational opportunities, because some individuals like you and I have friends at work hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have friends in our home life. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes individuals with disabilities, they only have the friends at the day program and the family friends. There's nobody outside that network. So my staff call it like our cousins. Like these are our second cousins who we see every week, and we get to check in with them. And so yeah, so we do those fun things as well. But just trying to create opportunities for the adults to succeed in whatever aspects of their lives that they would like to.
That's really inspiring. Yeah, that's very, very inspiring. And I think what sets you guys apart, outside of the cause of what you guys do, is the ability to start this organization without government funding. And tell us a little bit about that, and how you actually raise funds to support all these programming.
So, yes. So as we were talking before, we actually started Concord in the city, as I think that a lot of places do start as a for
Mm-hmm.
profit. But we did run it for about 5 years as a for profit. You know, there it wasn't. It was 100. Well, when we started, it was 2015, so it was a lot. It was a bit cheaper back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just got to the size that we would want it. We run a what's called a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every 3 participants, we have 1 staff. So, you know, to pay your staff appropriately, to have people who care about people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that we needed to look outside of the for profit because we were going to price parents out of what their funding model was going to be for what the
Mm-hmm.
provincial government provides. I've been in the field of disabilities probably for 20 years now, and I know that there's what they call passport funding, which the majority of parents right now only get $5,000 a year for supports for their adult with
My
developmental
God.
disabilities. Yeah, and that's 12 months of support that's supposed to cover plus their ODSPs. So I knew that that's what they were working with. And I also knew from a business perspective that I couldn't comfortably keep raising prices and letting them live that life. So I bullied my my business
Mm-hmm.
partner, he does all the paperwork on terms of like the business side, the CRA side. And I said, I think we really need to become a not-for-profit and a charity. That way we can take the own part of the onus off the parents, off the families, and be able to say to the outside community, um, help us support these individuals, help us see them thrive and what your dollars at work can create. So our funding model is at the moment we are 80% membership. No, we're probably less than that. 75% membership fees, and then
Mm-hmm.
we fundraise. So membership fees are like the month to month invoicing, and then we fundraise, and we fundraise through a variety of methods. And I think this is part of having a really good fundraising team behind you. One of my fundraisers said every event should have some aspect of fun. Every event should have some aspect of fundraising. So we do something called the
Mm-hmm.
Spirit of Concord, where you it's vendors with disabilities, so people with disabilities who have created their own products, but we do a
Mm-hmm.
raffle. So buying raffle
Yep.
tickets at the door, and those
Mm-hmm.
raffle ticket, that sales comes to us. So we don't make anything off the vendor tables, but the community members coming in and buying raffle tickets, that's fundraising for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing a charity yoga class. So you
Mm-hmm.
know, partnering with people in the community who have the same belief as you, and asking people to pay what they can. So just trying to figure out where you can match your fund, where you are in terms of the size of your organization and your fundraising dollars. The biggest thing that's helped us is we applied for charitable gaming funds. And I don't know if you know or have any experience with anybody who's done that.
Just a little bit. Tell us a little bit about, like, tell our audience a little bit about what that means.
Sure. So the Ontario Gaming Association provides a portion of funds from bingo sales, and I believe they call them tic tac machines or tip tap machines,
Mm.
like the Vegas style slot machines. You can
Mm-hmm.
get a portion of those funds going to your organization when you volunteer at a bingo place. So you
Oh.
apply with your city. So, like, we're in the city of Toronto, and you have to do a whole application, meet a certain criteria, and you set out what you want to spend your charitable gaming on. So, for us, it's like our cooking program, our community Thursday events, any art supplies, and all of that all that can be paid for the by the charitable gaming money. So that's
Oh,
really
cool.
alleviated a lot of the burden of families, and like relying on our membership fees for those things.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can focus on that, and that charitable gaming, it's a lot of paperwork on the person's end, so my end, because um my perspective, like, I have to make sure the bank accounts equally line up. I have to keep all my receipts for them, as you should be
Yeah.
running a not-for-profit.
Yes, hundred
um
percent, but
yeah, so, and
more,
you have to
more
report
so
back to
than.
the city. Yeah, but more than that. It is quite an intense application, but there's gaming centers throughout the province that do that.
Oh, that is amazing. So you essentially, by doing the extra work, now you have another source of income coming in, which will then help reduce the membership fees. So I'm assuming, I think you mentioned earlier, maybe I have missed the clarification, that the membership fees are the fees that are paid for by the families that would have their disabled adults participating in your programs in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, and we haven't raised our membership fees since 2021.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
And I don't for and I don't foresee, again, because I know how much they get, or how little they get from the government. I'm reluctant to raise those membership fees. I would rather when we meet with our board, have the discussion about raising our fundraising donation, or sorry, individual donation dollars, or corporate donation dollars, or like, where else can we find the funds for that? Because, again, putting the pressure, these parents already have enough pressure on their lives. I
Mm.
mean, I know it's not a not-for-profit portion, but housing, right? Like, individuals with disabilities are going to be living with their parents until their parents
Mm.
age out of
Mm.
their house. And so
Yep.
they have so much other pressure, that saying, hey, now it's going to cost you $10 more a day, which will be probably $100 more a month, which would be about $1,000 more a year. It just doesn't sit right
Mhm.
with us as an organization. So we would rather look outside and see how we can again, look to our community to help with those causes.
So I really appreciate the share because you opted not to get government funding. Maybe I should start off by asking, are there even government funding that your industry would be able to qualify, and is it hard to get those funding, and why are you not trying to get government funding at all?
Yeah, so you can actually apply to the Ministry of Community and Social Services. So,
Mm.
large organizations in that a lot of people know, that support individuals with disabilities, like community living. There's a place called Carrie's Place. I'm trying to think of a larger arena. Those are kind of our big three in the GTA. And they all have community and social services funding. And then some smaller organizations also get that. To get community funds from the government, you need to abide by a lot of guidelines.
Mm. Yep.
Which, and I'll go on and tell you a little bit about how also one of the things that we do to help support our not for profit is, but like there's specific principles that you have to follow. I think a lot of reporting measures, which, we have our own
Yep.
policies and procedures. We have a board of director that we do, but it just takes that other red tape off of it. And then they
Mm-hmm.
do offer subsidized spots. So if you do take ministry funding, you do have to have one or two spots that the ministry fills on your behalf. So like you have no say whether or not those individuals fit the mandate of your program or not, that they're going to come in. So actually, in response to this, I created a day program association in
Mm.
2025. I started meeting with 6 or 7 other day programs who are charitable organizations or not-for-profits, but don't take any ministry funding. So, and we meet on a
Mm.
bi-monthly basis, and we meet to discuss policies and procedures, like what do you do when this happens, and then also funding. So we share those funding tools. So like I tell them all about the gaming. They tell us, oh, the Trillium grant's coming up. It's going to be really hard this year. I've talked to somebody. So one of the big beliefs that Concord has is community over competition, or what's called cooperative competition. We're all in this organization. We're dealing with the same population, but there is competition because we all have a business. We still have staff to and membership to help with, but you can't. We're all doing these things in silos, and that's not going to be good for our profession to do it in silos. If we can come together and collaborate, then how can we take day programs to the next level? And so I'm hoping, some other, or like, and we have no restrictions on where those organizations have to be from. They just have to be not for profit or
Mm.
charitable and don't take any ministry funding. Because again, with the ministry funding comes a whole another set of guidelines that may not apply to
Reporting.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reporting.
Yeah. Wow. That's
And then,
fantastic.
yeah, the other thing too that kind of helped
Wow.
us is
So,
that
mm.
we started our charity during COVID.
Mm.
So we actually couldn't apply. Not that we couldn't apply, sorry, that we didn't actually run Concord in the City as a charity because there were so many grants for employees and rent. So we were still running because, as you and I talked before, we had a for-profit business. So it took us a year and a half to start running the entire business through. We still, did one employee. All of our programming expenses were run through the charity, but our rent and our other employees were all run through the for-profit because we were getting government grants for that.
Yeah, so that's fantastic because you brought up the business side of things and for profit side, and you also mentioned earlier during our recording that you started off with the for profit side, and how like I mean I I come from the for profit. I operate a business, it's for profit. I have a couple of businesses. And I personally see a lot of similarities between running a for profit organization and a nonprofit organization. And nonprofit leaders generally say that, well, like we're a nonprofit is very different. But to me, operations is operation. Maybe you're not maximizing profit, but you're maximizing impact. There are some differences, I agree. But what's your take on that? What's the difference? Like because you've run both and you are still running two.
Yeah, so the for-profit is very small now. So our for-profit is an overnight summer camp for people with disabilities. And when we started that, we ran the camp and the day program through a whole different business. And you're absolutely right. Even when we were a for-profit, we always had the mandate of a not-for-profit. So you're exactly right with what you said. Like, it's not about the checks and balances at the end that we're in that we made $5,000. Like, it was always about, okay, can we balance the books by the end of the month and everybody's gotten paid and the services are really great. And we're even, and that's how we always ran our business. It was never about making money. It was about just being even and making sure the quality of support was there with the staffing. But yeah, it's like, I think from a financial perspective, it's the way you categorize your books. And you are, and I
Mm.
mean, I've just hired Otis. And
Yep.
we, like the way you categorize your expenses is completely different, so that you can see where exactly what program you're doing it. But from a mind, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's what your mindset is, kind of what you said. Like, it's not, if we went into this business to make money, then we went into the wrong business, because working with people with disabilities, you're never going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you run a not for profit, I think you can also run a for profit, because it's about, or if you run a for profit, you can run a not for profit. It's about just making sure that your quality is there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It seems like there's a lot of transferable skills that are between the two different models. And to me, I think if you can run one side, you probably would be able to run the other side really well. And as long as you are able to balance the both, that's number one thing.
It is. And also, of course, like, there is the intricacies, but again, if you, and I think this is where our mindsets, when you're running a podcast for not-for-profit organizations and leaders, you already have the mindset about, I think, profitability. Whereas,
Hmm.
some of these big businesses, like, car manufacturers and oil industry, they want is the profit, right? They couldn't run a not for
Yep.
profit, because that's not their mentality. So you do have to have that specific thing of, like, this isn't about making money, this is about making good for people. And I think that's what a lot
Hmm.
of charities and not for profits have in common. So yeah, so those skills are transferable.
Hmm. Now, I don't want to keep you too long. I have one more questions for you. And for nonprofit leaders listening out there, what would you say about building a sustainable model outside traditional funding streams?
I think just looking, again, like I said, one of my fundraising members really put it in my head about, um, everything should have a have the ability to make money. So whatever you're doing,
Mm.
whatever event you're running, there should be some way to raise donation dollars. And again, and also, no
Mm.
donation dollar is too small. We just purchased donation boxes and put them in some of our local businesses. It marches Developmental
Mm.
Disabilities Awareness Month. So capturing those moments to let the community see, what the abilities are, and that there's an organization doing this work. Also, sometimes, just being on the floor and seeing, you'll get inspiration. I think sometimes working with your population, and you're saying, oh, maybe we could do this. Um, yeah, and then just looking at grants and what is the capacity and capability of every grants, because I think that a lot of people forget about grants, or we're looking for different
Mm.
granting partners, but like, there's all sorts of grants that are available. It's just making sure that you can get your program and your project into that stream.
That's fantastic. I think it is great that you're sharing all your insights. And if anyone have any questions for you, would they be able to reach out to you directly about any of these programmings?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. So I will include Melissa's contact information in the show notes as well. So if for anyone who has questions about doing this mix of profit and nonprofit organization structure, that would be something that you would be interested in learning more about. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Cherry.
As we wrap up, I want to share a bit more about what we do at Otis Financial Solutions. For the past 18 years, Otis Financial Solutions has been dedicated to enhancing the financial management and strategic planning capabilities of hundreds of associations and nonprofits across Canada. Our extensive experience has enabled us to deliver tailored financial solutions that drive growth and enhance sustainability for nonprofits and associations. If you are interested in learning more about how Alta's financial solutions can support your organization, I would love to offer you a no obligation 20-minute call. Let's discuss your unique challenges and explore how we would be able to help you achieve your goals.